So here is a case study from Anthropic, an arch OpenAI rival, discussing how cool it is that Codium's Windsurf IDE, their developer tool, used Claude. Well, if you're OpenAI and you would love to, I don't know, take away some revenue from your smaller competitor, I can also see that fitting into the overall strategic focus.
That's a great insight. Sure, if they were, it would be like if, I don't know, you were spending a lot of money, you're YouTube, and you're spending a bunch of money on AWS, and Azure buys YouTube and moves the storage and the transport all the way over there. Yeah, you could be winning that deal too. The bigger picture is M&A is back, and ChatGPT has a big chip stack, and they're willing to use it to buy other competitors. Where's XAI? Where's Claude? Where's Google? Google can't buy stuff. They've got so much antitrust agita in the firm that they're going to constantly be in antitrust land. So buying is like, why are we going to buy stuff? It's just going to put more heat and microscope on our company. That's the challenge. That's why Google should probably spin out a couple of assets.
XAI is interesting because they have that $100 billion roughly valuation after the XAI combination, and they have pretty much a murderer's row of financial backers behind the two companies that are now joined.
And what if you put it with Tesla? What if the next shoe to drop, I don't have inside information, is XAI becomes part of Tesla. Now you've got a public currency, and you have 5 different businesses living under one roof. You've got the language model, you've got the social network, you've got Optimus, the robot, you have EVs, electric vehicles, you have battery and solar, I'll put those together, energy, and then you have full self-driving. So you got like arguably 6 businesses, all with AI as the fundamental foundation to them. Now Tesla can go out and start buying things because they have a public currency already. If you take OpenAI's money in the form of their stock, it's illiquid. So you're kind of trapped. And the people with public currency, and then I don't know if Tesla should be under $1 trillion right now.
It's 756.
They're just, when you hit the $1 trillion mark, I think regulators are rightfully wary of how powerful the company is. When you're under $1 trillion, I think they might be like, okay, yeah, that's a mid-sized company, as crazy as it sounds. So I think we'll see a lot of these pickups. Also, these are high valuation companies. You could see investors getting skittish that, hey, maybe Cursor could get wiped out if Microsoft decides Copilot's free, or if XAI or Apple or Google decides to put a product out there and undercut them and include it and bundle it inside of Microsoft Office, Google Office. The bundling of AI is inevitable. And I think consumer AI will be a free product. I don't believe consumers are going to pay for it. I think it's going to be a largely free product in the next year or two.
I think this is interesting too, going back, as I so often do, to the early sort of AI skepticism and that's still raging on places like Blue Sky. One of the things you heard all the time, or still do in some cases, is like, well, but all these AI companies, these models, they're building increasingly sophisticated models, but there's no product. Like, what do they sell you? What is like the thing everybody wants to have that you need AI for? And I think we're now starting to see the answer. It's like, well, those companies don't even necessarily have to build that stuff. They just wait for companies to build an application layer on top of their models and then scoop up the best ones. And I mean, I think that's inevitably what's going to start happening.
And it's super good for startups because people have been talking about where will the value accrue in the current AI rush? Will it accrue at the model layer, the Anthropics, the OpenAIs, or at the application layer, one step above? Now, earlier on, people...
the device layer.
Oh, no, that's a pretty good point, actually.
Platform layer. Ultimately, don't forget Windows, don't forget Android, and don't forget Mac OS or iOS. I think we could see some of those platforms just run the table.